Hello friends and welcome to Parks Crafty Creations. I'm your host Brian Parks and today we're getting back to the basics for our new sewist with the essential slip stitch. Before we begin, if you enjoy this content, make sure to give us a like below as it really does help out the channel. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell icon so you'll always be notified whenever a new video drops. Now that the housekeeping is out of the way, let's get started. The slip stitch or ladder stitch is one of the simplest stitches there is, but it's a crucial stitch to learn since it's often used to finish the binding on quilts, close and finish garments, and so much more. Let's take a look. Okay, to get started, we're going to be treating this as though we're putting binding on a quilt. In this case, we're going to be demonstrating on our travel iron tote, but this process remains the same no matter what your project might be that you're actually having to do this on. So to get started, we're going to take a piece of thread and we're going to thread our needle. And this is actually going to give us two pieces of thread that we're going to be putting through. And on the other end, I'm going to take those two pieces and I'm going to knot them together with a double knot. This way we have a nice big knot and it's less likely to actually pull through by accident, by force. And I'm going to take those two knots and I'm going to get them to line up perfectly. There we go. Nice big knot on there. I don't know. Yeah, you can probably see it just a little bit there. Okay. So this is actually a pretty long piece of thread because I'm going to be taking that and I'm going to be going all the way around this ironing tote with it. So to get started, I'm going to flip this over to the opposite side. I'm going to take my binding. I'm going to fold it over. And this is very helpful to use these little binding clips, or you can use pins if you got those instead. But I like to go ahead and just clip these around the edge, just to kind of hold things in place for me as I'm going along. Especially when I'm coming up to the corners. There we go. And I'm just going to snip off that real quick. There we go. And I'm going to hold that there. There we are. Okay, so this is how we're going to start this binding. I'm going to take this and I'm going to actually come in from the opposite direction from what I'm going to be stitching. There we go. I'm going to stay nice and close to the edge, as you can see. Like I said, this is a pretty long piece of thread, so it can tend to get a little unwieldy. I do not encourage you to use such a long piece of thread, especially when you're starting out. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and turn this around. And we're going to actually start getting started on the stitches now. So, we've got it coming out of our binding, and now we're going to go through the main fabric. I'm going to try to just line it up nice and straight. There we go. You can hopefully see that with the black thread. I'm just going to come down here so that it's going to be covered up. I'm just going to take a nice small bite. And I'm not going through the other side. Okay, there we go. You can't see the needle there because it's not going all the way through. I'll go ahead and I'm just going to slide that through. And like I said, this is a pretty long piece comparatively to what you should be using. There we are. Okay, so we've got our first stitch. Now I'm going to come back into the binding here. I'm going to go straight up across it. And again, I'm not going to go through the other side. And again, it's going to be right along that edge. And what this will do is it'll actually add the stitch, but it's going to keep everything nice and hidden when it's pulled tight. So you shouldn't see any of the stitches. And if you do, then you got yourself a problem. You're going to have to go back and take that out. All right, I have a piece of thread here that I need to trim. There we go. I got a few pieces of thread there I actually need to trim. Okay, now that's gone. Now you can see, as I'm pulling it tight, you don't see any stitches there. It's because everything is hidden underneath. We'll do that one more time. It's basically just a nice little back and forth. And we're just going to keep going back and forth like so. And if you feel it go through the other side, first of all, ouch. Second of all, you're going to have to pull that needle back and do that stitch again, because you do not want it showing. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of this stitch, is to not let your stitches show. And now I'm going to do that along the entire thing, all the way around the entire tote until the very end. And at the end, all I'm going to do, I'm going to push this through. I'm going to knot it. So let's say this is the end. Actually, we'll do one more stitch here, because I like to end on the bottom. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take a nice tiny little bite so it's as invisible as possible. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to knot it nice and tight. There we go. So that knot should be under your binding. And then I'll take the needle, and right at that same position, I'm going to slip the needle under, and I'm going to push it in as deep as I can through the project. Again, don't go through your back. I'm going to pull that as far through as I possibly can, so it's less likely to actually pull out on me. And then I'll take my scissors and I'll just snip it. I'm not going to do that because I'm actually going to go ahead and finish this one. But that's all there is to it. It's very, very simple. And once you get fairly decent at it, it's pretty quick.
And there you have it, a beautifully closed seam using the slip stitch. Perfect for any project where you need an invisible finish. If you found this tutorial helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe for more sewing tips and tricks. Thanks for watching. I'm Brian Parks for Parks Crafty Creations. We'll see you next time.